Please be seated. Extremely delighted to see so many of you out here today. I think this is a very special occasion to see so many ants out here. I think this year, the first time we see so many ants. Wonderful to have you. Most importantly, a very warm welcome to our chief guest this evening, Mr. Delighted to see so many of you out here today. I think this is a very special. Most importantly, we'll have to bear with me twice. A very warm welcome to our chief guest this evening, Mr. Delighted to see so many of you out here today. I think this is a So should I say that again? I'm making the third time around. Once again, a warm welcome to our chief guest, Mr. Marua Katsumasa, who is the Deputy Consul General of the Consulate of Japan in Bangalore. Warm welcome to you, sir. It's indeed an honor to have a person from your stature to come here at 2 o'clock. Thank you for joining us. And of course, not the most important person of the day, Shamla Ganesh. Wonderful to have you with us. I think you know so many people out here and people love you out here. Welcome to the club and delighted to have you. Welcome to all the Rotarians who have joined us. Also, a warm welcome to Miss Nisha Kakre, right? Nisha Kake. Yeah. Welcome to you, madam. May I start with the announcements from the secretary, club secretary?
Good evening, everybody. The last week, all the committees have been actually very busy monitoring the progress of the various projects that have been undertaken by them. The Community Services Committee had the 10th meeting on the 21st of April. The meeting, fellowship and dinner was hosted by Rotarians Manjunath, Susan Marcus, Vinay Pai and Radhika Pai. The Vocational Services Committee also had the 10th committee meeting on the 22nd of April on the online platform. The Youth Services Committee had a meeting with the jury on the Saturday, the 21st of April to finalize the list of awardees for the Young Achievers Award that will be given out at a meeting that is going to be held on the 15th of May. Now, as far as birthdays and anniversaries that are being celebrated this coming week, past President Rotarian Samuel is celebrating his birthday today. Similarly, Rotarian Ganesh Kumar is celebrating his birthday tomorrow. And Radhika Pai also celebrates her birthday tomorrow. And Shubhangi celebrates her birthday on the 2nd of May. And as for wedding anniversaries, we have Kuni and Susan Kurian celebrating their wedding anniversary tomorrow. I think they are holidays in that. We should all also celebrating their birthday and wedding anniversaries on the special day and the years to come. Now for the programs of the coming week, the International Services Committee is having their next meeting tomorrow, and that's on the online platform. The next regular meeting will be held on the 5th of May at the SCM Center located on Mission Road. This meeting will be the RILA inaugural meeting, and the details of this program will be circulated shortly. Requested all of you to attend the meeting on Thursday, because RILA is being held, as you all know, after a gap of 2 years. Well, that's the announcement for the week. Thank you.
Thank you, Nanda. Incidentally, welcome back, Nanda. He's just come back from UK this morning. Nice to have him back. A quick couple of announcements from my side before we start the proceedings. One is RILA is happening on the 5th. Please be there, especially the newer Rotarians who have not seen a RILA. Please be there. It's a wonderful event. 3 days of a lot of good speakers. And I think this year, Valen, Susan and Gargi have put together a wonderful program. Please be there for the RILA. Secondly, the overnight picnic is happening on the 28th of May. We just have a few more seats left. So please book today if you don't want to be disappointed. Book immediately, just about few more seats. I think we're closing this up by this weekend. Lastly, on the district, there has been an announcement. I thought it's my duty to inform you. The district is going to be bifurcated. 3190 is going to be bifurcated in 3191 and 3192. So all 160 clubs will be divided between these two districts, and we have incidentally been put in 3191 district. So the other clubs like Indiranagar and Rotary Bangalore are in 3192. Initially, we were given to understand that we would be in 3192, but for some reason they moved to 3191. Not that it makes a big difference, but we have written to the district governor asking him for an explanation why we are in this particular group and why not the other. Also written the same mail to Mr. Mahesh Kotbagi, the Rotary International Director, for an explanation of this. I just I'll keep you informed, and if I have a response on this, I will keep you informed on this. Thank you very much. I'd like to now invite Mr. Before that, okay. We'll have this program in two parts. One is we'll have the induction of a new member. Incidentally, not a new member at all, a returning member, Karthik Sheshagiri. And I would like Swaroop Sridhar to introduce Karthik, and I invite Karthik on stage, please.
Good evening, President Vinod John, Secretary Nandakumar, our chief guest this evening, Mrs. Shamla Ganesh, our Rotarians, and most importantly, the colorful ants here. Even though this gentleman needs no introduction, I think as a protocol, I have to introduce him. And it's my privilege to introduce this star of Indiranagar, Mr. Karthik Sheshagiri. Karthik is a Nammal Uru Huruga from Bangalore who completed a schooling at Baldwin's and his bachelor's degree in computer science from Gulbarga University. He then went on to Kent University in the US to study for his master's in computer science. He worked with a few companies as a project manager for a couple of years and then worked with IBM for almost 5 years as a project leader. He was in Shanghai for 2 years. He came back to India to set up Vishesh Transmissions in 2010 after being deprived of Tire Sadam in China. Currently, Karthik is the president of High-Torque USA LLC, a company in linear motion and electromechanical power transmissions, and managing director of Gear and Gear Drives, started by his father, our own charter member and past president, late Rotarian Sheshagiri. Something interesting to know about Karthik is his patience and determination. When he travels to the US on business trips to meet prospective customers, he never stays at hotels or motels. He drives almost 300 miles a day, sleeps in the car, gets dressed at gas stations, and these trips last for 10 to 12 days. He says, no matter what, get up, dress up, and show up. With this, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome back Karthik Sheshagiri to Rotary Club of Bangalore.
Thank you, Swaroop. Now, may I request our past president, Bharat Bel, to induct the 64th member of Rotary Bangalore Cantonment.
Good evening. Am I audible? Yeah. Yeah. I always have a problem with this mic. Good evening to one and all present here. It's always wonderful, to add in new members to our club. But I think when you get one of our old back, it's special. And today I have the privilege of installing Karthik back to our fold. Thank you, President, for this honor. Fellow Rotarians, it's the duty of our Rotary Club to add new members from time to time so that we may not only increase our usefulness and influence as a club, but also to extend the spirit of Rotary throughout the community. Today, I welcome to our ranks and admit to membership Mr. Karthik Seshgiri. Mr. Karthik Seshgiri, you have been elected to membership in this club because the members of Rotary Cantonment believe you to be worthy representative of your calling, and also you possess qualities that will permit you to exemplify the true spirit of Rotary in your public, business, social, and private life. I wish to impress upon you that you have been admitted not only to the Rotary Club of Bangalore Cantonment, but to a worldwide network of Rotary clubs. And by virtue of your membership in this club, you will be welcomed into the fellowship of any Rotary club around the world. The honor and privilege of Rotary membership carries with it duties and obligations. You will be expected to attend the club meetings regularly, to perform your share of club service, and to place your knowledge and talents at the disposal of this club in its task of carrying the principles of Rotary into the daily life of community. I now ask all members to please rise. Mr. Karthik Seshgiri, in the name of the Rotary Club of Bangalore Cantonment, I now formally admit you to membership in this club and affix to your lapel our emblem, the Rotary pin, and you have also been loaned the classification of linear motion technology. So fellow Rotarians, I now present to you Rotarian Karthik Seshgiri and request all of you to welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Bharat. Thank you very much. May I now request Karupsamy to accompany our chief guest to the stage, please. Also requesting Shamla Ganesh to come up on stage, please. Mercy, can you accompany Shamla to stage? Please. I hand over proceedings to the director, Rohit, to take it on from here.
Yeah, thank you, President Vinod. Thank you. Good to see all of you here for this wonderful occasion. May I request to get started, may I request Rotarian Karupaswamy to introduce our chief guest, Mr. Maruo Katsumasa-san, Deputy Consul General, Consulate General of Japan.
Good evening, everyone. It's my proud privilege and honor to introduce Mr. Maruo Katsumasa, Deputy Consul General from the Consulate General of Japan. He started his career in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs after completing his Bachelor of Law degree in March 90. He has spent most of his time in Japan and Korea. He was posted to Embassy of Japan, Republic of Korea in December 1990, and he then moved to Japan to look after domestic public relations division. Then he also worked in the intelligence coordination division, planning policies for gathering diplomatic intelligence. Then terrorism preparedness and response division of the ministry also he was serving. Then August 2002, he moved again back to Consulate General of Japan in Jeju, Republic of Korea, where he was engaged in public relations between Jeju and Japan, and also looked after PR activities of Japanese culture and tourism. Then he moved to Busan, Republic of Korea, to the consulate there, and supported operation of the Consular General. He also then looked after the security division, planning policies for protecting Japanese overseas establishment there. Then he again, September 2015, moved to Japan and became senior specialist for archival affairs, Japan Center for Asian Historical Records, National Archives of Japan, and was engaged in constructing database of governmental documents on modern relationship between Japan and Asian countries. Then June 2019, he was posted here in Bangalore as Deputy Consul General in the Consulate General of Japan, India. Welcome, Mr. Maruo Katsumasa. It's our pleasure to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, to get started here, may I request Rotarian Apadre to give a background and basis of granting this International Goodwill and Understanding Award.
Thank you, Rohit. Good evening, everyone. I have been given the privilege of giving an insight to this award and its relationship association with our Rotary Club. As you are all aware, the Rotary movement was initially started by a group of 4 persons of different vocations who came together to share their respective expertise and experiences for the benefit of society. Therefore, vocations became the cornerstone of Rotary movement as people with different vocations were invited to become members of this worldwide movement. Although in Rotary activities, vocational excellence has been given a great importance, and Rotary clubs all over the world strive to recognize and reward vocational excellence in their local community, the Rotary International has, in view of the global spread of the Rotary movement and the international relationships and connectivity, started recognizing the contributions made in the area of international service. Since 1981, Rotary International has been honoring an individual or organization whose life or work demonstrates in some exemplary or worthy manner the Rotary ideal of service, especially in the promotion of international understanding, goodwill, and peace, with the Rotary Award for World Understanding. These awards over the years have been given to heads of state and other dignitaries that include His Holiness Pope Francis, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, the then President of India, Queen Elizabeth II, etc. We at the Rotary Club of Bangalore Cantonment, or RCBC as it is popularly known, has followed this principle in right earnest and have been granting on an annual basis the International Goodwill and Understanding Award to deserving individuals or institutions that have made concerted and continuing efforts towards the cause of promoting international goodwill and understanding through the individual or institutions' activities. The idea of giving this award is, besides recognizing the awardees' achievements, to encourage the youth to emulate and follow them as role models. RCBC over the years have been fortunate to identify and recognize many such individuals, institutions, and to name some of these past awardees, we have Father Vincent Ferreira of Rural Development Trust, Anantapur, for his contribution to the upliftment of the rural poor women, children, and disabled in the areas of health, education, ecology, and infrastructure development. Mr. Stephen Dance, an Australian sportsperson based in Bangalore, for the commendable work with the underprivileged Bangalore children in the field of athletics training. The William Joseph Music Foundation, Bangalore, for dedicating itself to the cause of harnessing music as a unique medium for promoting international goodwill and understanding. The Asian Foundation for Philanthropy, London, for their work in deputing volunteers from the UK to work on various poverty eradication projects in India. Sister Jacqueline Jean McEwan, a missionary of UK origin, based in Bangalore, for the commendable work done in caring for leprosy patients in and around Bangalore. Niko Sahati Malhan, a lady of Japanese origin living in Bangalore, for catalyzing a group of Japanese women living in Bangalore to devote some of their spare time and resources towards community-oriented work in Bangalore. Overseas Women's Foundation, Bangalore, for their enduring contribution to Bangalore's underprivileged community through their volunteer work and fundraising efforts. Natalia K. Kaplova, a Belarus-born concert pianist based in Bangalore, for promoting Western classical music of the highest standards in India. This year, we have selected a very deserving individual for granting the International Goodwill and Understanding Award. To tell you more about this individual, I request Rotarian Sudhakar to please come forward and do the honors. Thank you.
Distinguished Chief Guest, Mr. Maru Katsumasa, President Vinod, dignitaries from the district, fellow Rotarians, charming aunts, and guests. Go Esiki no Minasama Konobanwa. Okay, we'll get to know what that means later. Having known Shyamala Ganesh for more than 30 years, I was sure I knew all that there was to know about her, till I got a write-up about her from her office. That's when I realized that what we do know about her was much more than what we do not know about her was much more than what we really knew. Mrs. Shyamala Ganesh, a rank holder in botany, obtained her master's degree from the University of Mumbai. She served as a professional educator, having taught in 3 different colleges around India, including the reputable St. Xavier's College in Mumbai. She also worked as an instructor at the Marist and Brothers International School in Kobe. Her association with Japan commenced when her husband was posted to Osaka from 77 to 81. She availed of this opportunity to pursue her interest in nature as a student of Ikebana at the Ohara School of Ikebana in Kobe, where she received the title of Grand Master of the Ohara School of Ikebana, Japan. After returning to India, she started teaching Ikebana at Hoen's Ohara School of Ikebana, established by her in 1983 in Bangalore, and taught many students over the ensuing ensuing years. In 1986, an Ikebana study group was formed and she was appointed the president. The Bangalore chapter of Ohara School of Ikebana was founded in 1989 and she was the founding president and continues as the president until 2011. Since the inception of the Bangalore chapter, she's been conducting annual exhibitions, workshops, written articles, and promoted the Japanese art on social media. Through the medium of Ikebana, she hopes to sensitize people of love, appreciate, and preserve nature in all its beauty and splendor. The Japanese language school was established in 1984 by her late husband, Rotarian Ganesh. And after his demise in 2001, Shyamla has been its director. The school has taken the initiative to help Indian students understand Japanese language and culture by offering conversation, JLPD courses, intercultural training, and corporate trainings. JLS has played a vital role in bringing the two countries closer. Shyamla Ganesh, along with a like-minded group, was instrumental in establishing Lotus and Chrysanthemum Trust, which was launched in 2010. Some of the objectives of this trust are to generate an interest in art, literature, music, dance of both the countries, along with interaction between people of both India and Japan. Mrs. Shyamla Ganesh served as a managing trustee of LCT till 2020. It is but natural for such a distinguished person to have been honored with a number of awards and felicitations. As a recognition of her accomplishments and dedication, she was conferred a Grand Master's degree by the headmaster Hiroki Ohara in 2011 in Kobe. She happens to be the first person from Karnataka and the third person in India to receive this degree. Mrs. Shyamla Ganesh was felicitated by Mr. Koichi Ibara, Council Head, Consulate of Japan in Bangalore, on receiving this award. The Japanese Consulate Bangalore in 2014 presented a Commendation Award to Shyamla Ganesh for her contribution to promoting cultural exchange between India and Japan. Speaking at the ceremony, Nobuaki Yamamoto, head of the Consulate of Japan in Bangalore, said, Shyamla has dedicated 40 years of her life in promoting cultural exchanges between the countries, and it is an honor conferring this award on her. The Consulate General of Japan in Bangalore presented the prestigious award, Order of the Rising Sun, Gold and Silver Rays, to Shyamla Ganesh in 2021. The award presented by the Consul General Akiko Sugita. The government of Japan conferred the award on Mrs. Shyamla Ganesh for the spread of Japanese language and culture in Karnataka and other parts of India through Japanese language education, spread of Ikebana, and hosting of cultural events in India and Japan. These, ladies and gentlemen, were the profound qualities in Mrs. Shyamla Ganesh, which made her an automatic choice this year to be conferred the International Goodwill and Understanding Award from the Rotary Club of Bangalore Cantonment. To conclude, Go Siki no Minasama, Shyamla o Go, Shukai Dekiru Koto o Ureshiku Omnimasu. Thank you.
Thank you, Rotarian Sawaka. May I now request Ms. Shyamla Ganesh to please step forward. I would like to read the citation of the award. Thank you. Rotary Bangalore Cantonment is honored to confer the International Goodwill and Understanding Award upon Mrs. Shyama Ganesh, whose life and work have personified Rotary's ideal of service and also for her outstanding contribution in the promotion of international understanding, goodwill and peace. We, the members of Rotary Club Bangalore Cantonment, humbly recognize and salute her distinguished achievements in the promotion of Japanese culture, achievements in international relations, and the advancements she has accomplished in her field, and for emerging as a role model to be emulated by individuals across the country. Conferred on this, the 20th day of April 2022. Signed by President Robert John, Secretary Nanda Kumar, Military Director of International Services, Rohit Karant. May I request President Vinod and Katsumasa-san to please present the award. May I request now Ms. Shyama Ganesh to please address the gathering and do share your experiences.
Good evening, Rotary President, Vinod, and Nanda Kumar, Secretary, and Mr. Marosa, and all the other Rotarians and friends. Okay. Thank you. I hope you won't pull my legs to make me taller. Good evening. I have always been sitting in the second or third row here, and maybe rarely in the front row. But today I'm standing in front of you all. I'm a little nervous, self-conscious, and if I make any mistakes, please forgive me. Good evening. Konnichiwa or konbanwa. Thank you all for honoring me with this Rotary Club of Bangalore Cantonment's International Goodwill and Understanding Award for this year. I'm very grateful to receive this recognition, especially at this nostalgic venue and from old and new friends. My connection with Japan is something that was preordained. My late husband, Ganesh, as most of you might have known him, and he was a Japanophile. He studied Japanese in the year 64 to 66. And during that time, he joined Bank of India, and later we got married. So all this happened before we were married. Ganesh was an ardent Japanophile, and when we were married, a little bit of that gold dust rubbed on me too. In the year 1977, my late husband was posted to Japan to work because of his language ability in Bank of India. The rest, as they say, is history. This year is especially important as we are celebrating 75th Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, and we are also celebrating the 70th anniversary of the India-Japan diplomatic relation. Allow me to share a few thoughts on this occasion. Over the last few years, I have received a few recognitions based on my contribution over the past 4 decades. Last year, the Japanese government bestowed the Order of the Sun, Golden and Silver Rays for my work on Indo-Japan cross-cultural awareness. Today, I am also being felicitated with this wonderful International Goodwill and Understanding Award for contributing to cultural exchange. Nevertheless, my actions are nothing special. They are just based on simple belief that better communication and understanding of commonalities in culture can bridge divides, and we can live a more productive and happy life. This message, I feel, is even more significant when placed in the backdrop for the last 2 years. With COVID, we have lost a lot of loved ones, have to isolate ourselves and cut ourselves from social contact. This health pandemic has also increased a more divisive time where tribalism triggered by social media has resulted in a more fractured and fragmented world. Climate change, global politics, and now situation in Ukraine testament to this challenge. This is the reason that today we need this communication and cultural exchange more than ever. Actually, this belief is not just mine, but something that was passionately advocated by Ganesh, who was, of course, a charter member of RCBC. A lot of our belief has been viewed through the lens of our relationship between India and Japan. Both countries are historically and culturally rich, and we are now integrally intertwined as democracies and symbiotic economies. This relationship is likely to grow, especially as Japan is increasingly dependent on the Indian market, and India seeks an appropriate social development model coupled with the advanced technology and industry of Japan. But our relationship with Japan started before there was an economic imperative to work together. Ganesh studied Japanese in 1965 because of interest in Japanese art, and we moved to Japan in 1977 for 4 years. During this time, my love for flowers drew me to learn Ohara Ikebana, one of the schools of Japanese flower arrangement, which was something that I truly grew to admire and adore. On our return to India and his interest in the language and the admiration of Japan, he started the first Japanese language school in South India in 1984. However, I started teaching Ohara Ikebana from 1983. I started the Bangalore chapter of the Ohara School of Ikebana as a means to build bridges between Japan and India and gain more people to love nature and flowers. I felt that if we can commonly recognize the beauty of flowers and nature, it means that we can agree on other things too. Today, as I conclude, my request to all of us is to remind ourselves about the splendor of nature and flowers, and for us to fight for it, make efforts to recognize and respect the cultures of all societies, and communicate openly and respectfully on our commonalities and not differences. As an 80-year-old, that sums up the wisdom that I have gathered over 8 decades. Thank you once again for this recognition. Have a wonderful evening, and praying for a year filled with health, happiness, and peace. Now I've got a short presentation. Yeah, okay. Next, please. this is how I was inspired to do Ikebana, but I'm a person, unless I learn something, I'll never do. This was Ganesh's arrangement. Next. This is when I learned, I did MSc in botany and sort of intensified my interest in plants and nature. This is a beautiful Japan. I've just shown you 4 different things. Yeah. My other interest was music, and I took part in Osaka Music Festival, which was conducted in the hall where 3,000 people could be accommodated. Yeah, next. This is, of course, a great opportunity to have met Pandit Ravi Shankar and Allaraka, as well as Professor Tagore, Sandeep Tagore, who is a relative of Rabindranath Tagore. This is where in Nara there was a consecration, reopening of the temple after 20 years or something, I have forgotten. So we got to play some music. Next. Spectacular Japan, Mount Fuji. Ganesh did a lot of painting as an amateur painter, but he said he must have lived in his last life in near Mount Fuji. Next. This is again Mount Fuji reflected in Lake Kawagu by Hokusai, Japan's one of the most celebrated artists. Next. Again, by the same Hokusai only, one of the great artists, the Great Wave. Next. This is Momiji Park, where during autumn, it comes in all hues and colors, but the most beautiful place is Nikko. Next. This is my Ikebana journey. My first teachers, Usagawa sensei wearing a black sweater, and Ogai sensei is sitting on the other side, and 2 assistant teachers. They were all first masters, but great teachers. Thank you. Next. This is International Kobe Chapter, Ikebana International Kobe Chapter, exhibition participation. The theme was native land. So did use some brass containers. Next. This is with the Norwegian Consul General's wife and a friend. Next. Going through the exhibition. Next. It wasn't only about Ikebana, it was also a lot of fun. The same thing, native land, we were supposed to dress up. I never dressed in those kind of clothes before. Next. I even became the vice president only for a short time. Later, I got a part-time job as a teacher in Marist Brothers International School. I had the privilege of meeting the headmaster, Hunu Ohara, that is a 3rd generation headmaster. It is like a dynasty, father, son, and so on. And I think it is a real great honor to be corrected by him. And this is, there is Natsuki Ohara, who was the next headmaster, but he predeceased Hunu Ohara, but that was his wife. And my teacher, and I would call the other lady my godmother. She used to send so many things from Japan, even after I came to Bangalore and never met her afterwards. This is the exhibition, Natsuki Ohara, Hunu Ohara, viewing the exhibition, 1983. This is Natsuki Ohara, headmaster designate. He is also viewing the same exhibition. Now we formed the O'Hara study group in Bangalore in 1996. This is Sri Jivaraj Alva inaugurated, and I'm sitting between Kun O'Hara and my teacher Usagawa Sensei. And this is celebrating 50 years of Kun O'Hara's headmastership, mingling with the international master seminar participants in 87. People from all over the world come. With Wakako O'Hara, she was a headmistress for a time in 1987. Inauguration of an exhibition by Sri Ramakrishna Hegde. Formation of the Bangalore chapter. We were supposed to have 4 teachers, qualified teachers, to get a status of the chapter. This is governor was called to Delhi, so his wife came and inaugurated. There were 3 professors from Japan. Next. This is the first group of members of Bangalore chapter. These are all senior Ikebana teachers, masters from Bombay, Hyderabad, Delhi, and so on. This is after the first anniversary. During the first anniversary, we were going for collecting the materials. This is, you can recognize, this is Bangalore Rotary Club, cantonment, and we had Ramdas Pai is there, and you can recognize some other people perhaps. This is Alliance Francaise. We held an exhibition in 1994, because these names will mean nothing to you. Anyway, Professor Tomita, Assistant Professor Seki, and Moriso, Alliance Francaise Director. This is again Professor Tomita giving a demonstration at the Windsor Manor. Group photograph with Professor Tomita and Assistant Professor Seki. This is, we made a trip to Japan with Professor Takahashi, Tara Debroff, and Veena Saraswati. And this is Professor Namba. She was, as a lady, she was very famous. And this is with Wakako O'Hara, and even Ganesh visited that place at the headquarters. This is the 10th anniversary exhibition with Vice Consul from Chennai. We didn't have a consulate at that time in Bangalore. Professor Sempo O'Hara and Assistant Professor Chiji, presided by Governor Chaturvedi. Governor Chaturvedi and Professor Sempo O'Hara gave the exhibition 2002. Exhibition at Osaka. This is when I was visiting, I attended an exhibition. This is beautiful arrangements, and this is done by Professor Professor Kudo. He was supposed to be the greatest architect of O'Hara Ikebana. Next. This is, of course, here when we was being felicitated by Jija Hari Singh and Mr. Chiranjeev Singh and Mr. Srinivas Murthy. He was the BCC commissioner. This is first consul, Suchikawa-san, and Ms. Gitanjali Kirloskar and Nalini Dungarsi from Bombay. Same thing. This is the Lotus and Chrysanthemum Trust, which we formed, and we held exhibition, both Ikebana and Bonsai. This is when I received the Grand Master's degree from Headmaster Hiroki O'Hara. And he was the youngest person. When his father died, he was 5, and his grandfather died, he was 7. And in between, it is Wakako O'Hara who held on the helm of affairs. This is with the family, Ohara family. This is Hiroki Ohara's arrangement. I'm standing nearby and taking a picture. And this is against Professor Kudo, is the most celebrated Ohara Ikebana artist. It's an exhibition, one of the exhibits in Nagoya. In Nagoya. This is one girl who stayed with us in Bangalore in a small flat in Lavelle Road, 2-bedroom flat. And we met two Japanese people walking by, and Ganesh said, must be Japanese. And the next time again, we saw them in a different place in Lavelle Road. And we stopped and exchanged cards. And they said, there is a Japanese girl who has come. Since you had been to Japan and you love Japan, could you accommodate her? We said, yes, we could, but only a couple of constraints. That is, Manu was just attending his ICSE exam. And then we are vegetarians till now. And we said, we have only 2 small bedrooms. So she said, doesn't matter. And she stayed. And even now, anytime afterwards, 9 times I've gone to Japan. Whenever I go, she's always there to receive me, whether in Tokyo or Nagoya or Kobe, anywhere. This is with Makoko Ohara. She actually encouraged and appreciated my effort. This is receiving Commendation Award from, I forgot the name now, Headmaster Hiroki Ohara, and he visited Delhi in 2015. This is, you can recognize Mr. Maruo-san here. He celebrated the 2 Japanese professors who are coming, and we celebrated the 30th anniversary in 2019. This is when I received this Order of the Rising Sun, Gold and Silver Race by Akiko Sugita. And of course, there is Hiroshi Yanagisawa and Manager Director of Toyota, and also from JAL, Bangalore Representative Manager. With love and gratitude, thank you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation and taking us through your experience. It was truly rewarding. I'm very certain that a lot of curiosity would have been aroused here, learning more about Japan, for one, and also specifically learning more about the Ohara Ikebana School. Yeah, certainly. And I think there's a task ahead for others next year from the international services to forge a relationship with the club in Japan. Thank you so much. So with this, may I please hand over the proceedings back to President Vinod.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank you very much. Indeed, once again, it's, I think, the club's honor to have bestowed this award onto you, and your connection with Japan is phenomenal. And thank you for that lovely presentation. May I now request our chief guest, Maruo Katsumasa-san, to say a few words.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting inviting me to this ceremony. At the outset, I would like to express my gratitude for the opportunity give a speech at this prestigious award ceremony. First, I would like to express my sincere congratulations to Ms. Shamala Ganesh for receiving the International Goodwill and Understanding Award from the Rotary Club Bangalore cantonment. I heard that the club has anonymously chosen Ms. Shamala Ganesh for the award in the recognition of her distinguished achievement to the promotion of Japanese culture. Achievement in the international relations, advancement in her field, and conservation of the environment. As the Deputy Consul General of Japan in Bangalore, I feel much pride in Shamala Ganesh receipt of this award, and believe that this ceremony is very important for promoting Japanese culture in Karnataka and for facilitating the mutual exchange between Japan and India. This year marks the 70th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between India and Japan. Both countries have a long history of mutual association. For example, there are a lot of things which are being derived from India, such as Buddhism, shogi, and Saturma, that is Taro. Japan's economic relationship with India has seen a lot of progress. For example, in Karnataka, Japan has supported in various areas of development, such as Namma Metro. And in the state of Karnataka alone, the number of Japanese companies have increased from 155 offices in 2010 to 220 companies and 519 offices in 2020. India and Japan share common values such as the rule of law, freedom of navigation, and free trade. India and Japan have also come up with activists and free and open Indo-Pacific together respectively. Also, the relationship between India and Japan has been a special strategic and global partnership when it comes to working together for peace and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific region and the world. And both countries participated in a quadrilateral security dialogue. I think that Japan and India are sure to achieve the mutual complementary relationship in the economic area. At present, Japan requires Indians who are talented in the IT sector, with the majority of IT companies showing interest in the Indian IT sector as startups. Further, I think that Japan will need the people of talent from India in areas such as agriculture and nursing. On the other hand, India currently requires the skill, know-how, and the people of talent in the areas of manufacturing, an area in which Japan excels in. I strongly believe that economic cooperation between both countries exhibits the synergistic effect. For the reasons I mentioned, further developing the relationship between India and Japan is crucial, not only for both countries, but also the peace of the world. The government of Japan has recognized Ms. Ganesh outstanding contribution to the promotion of countries' exchanges between Japan and India, and has therefore bestowed upon the heart or the order of the rising sun, gold, and the silver rays. This decoration is given to foreigners who have contributed in promoting Japanese language and culture, thereby facilitation a stronger bridge between the foreign countries and Japan. I'd like to take the opportunity to reiterate the achievement by Ms. Ganesh on this occasion. First, Ms. Ganesh, through her contribution with the establishment of Lotus Renaissance Trust, has been conducting Indo-Japan cultural exchange programs in Karnataka. Ms. Ganesh has promoted to the mutual understanding of both Japanese and Indian culture for the people of Karnataka. To give a few examples, she has organized events to introduce various aspects of Japan, such as bonsai exhibition, performances of Japanese traditional music and dances, rakugo or storytellings, film screenings, and demonstrations of Japanese cuisine by Japanese restaurants in Bangalore. Ms. Ganesh, as a president of the Bangalore chapter of Ohara School of Ikebana, and as a lifelong member of the chapter, following her retirement, has been promoting the art of Ikebana. Ms. Ganesh has expanded her activity not only in Bangalore, but also in the other parts of Karnataka, such as Mysore, Kodagu, and other states such as Kerala and Telangana. As the director of the Japanese language school, which was first established along with her husband, Ms. Ganesh has played a central role in providing Japanese language education for Indians in Bengaluru, especially in providing training for the Japanese language proficiency test and the Japanese language education for corporate companies. She has been making great efforts in promoting Japanese language to the residents in Bengaluru, and thereby indirectly facilitating their subsequent employment in a Japanese company. Finally, I'd like to wish Ms. Ganesh a long, prosperous life, and hope that she will continue to play an active role in furthering the exchange between Japan and India, and that everyone present here will continue to flourish with good health and happiness. Thank you so much. Dhanyawada garu.
Thank you, Mr. Maruo, for that wonderful talk. And indeed, I think both countries, India and Japan, have worked very closely together, and we love Japan for one thing, that's your processes and your precision in everything that you do. And we Indians admire that, and we wish to adopt many of those processes in our own. And of course, we love Japanese food. I personally love Japanese food. May I now request our immediate past president, Ravi Narasimhan, to propose the formal vote of thanks.
President Vivek, Secretary Nandakumar, Rotarians, and charming ants. Without you, this function would have been as spectacular as it was. Thank you, Mrs. Shyamla Ganesh, for through the memory lane of your contribution to Japan from India. The small anecdote which I remember is that when I was a freshly minted retainer in 2000, 22 years ago, I was asked to call a committee meeting posted. So I called various members, and one member in that list was Ganesh. So I called, say, was it this? This is Ganesh. So that I wanted to invite you. I'm hosting. So you tell these things who didn't know that it's Ganesh is the more, and I'm not a. So I said, I'm extremely sorry. That was the first list I had with her. And then after that, we've been in touch for the last 20 years in various forums. And this was one of the biggest opportunities I got to say sorry and say thanks to her for being here as a part of our club. We should give her a thank you, Maru Katsumis, for being here to preside over this function. It's indeed a privilege for us to have you preside over this wonderful international evening, and you have made this evening really truly special for all of us. Thank you so much. I don't understand between you and the dinner. Look forward to having a wonderful evening with you now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi. With this, we conclude this program. The meeting is now adjourned. Please join us for dinner, which is being served. Thank you.